Hi, my name is Jeff Atchison and I'm the Chief Business Development Officer here at IFP. Today we're going to debut another episode of the IFP Business Solutions How to Grow, and this is really focused on helping you grow your presence, your practice, and your profits. Today, and I've got some notes here I'm going to follow along. This is really meant to be a teaching experience. We're going to go to a couple of visuals as we get into it. So very informal in the presentation and not so much scripted. So today we're going to focus on the economic power of IFP's vision of a multidisciplinary business model. And really in that we're going to look at two phases, an overview of the model itself, and then we're going to put a little rubber to the road and look at the actual numbers that would be associated with the successful implementation of that kind of business model. It's been said beginning a journey without a map is like building a house without any blueprints. It's very rarely goes like it's supposed to, and there's all kind of unintended consequences. The same is true with building your business without a vision of what you're trying to accomplish. So that's the approach we're going to focus on today, and we're going to go to our multidisciplinary business model. But first, let's have a refresher on IFP's multidisciplinary business model vision and what we're trying to accomplish with this Help to Grow series. So in the multidisciplinary business model that you're going to see on your screen is really four silos underneath that, or four pillars, if you will. One is wealth management, and you're all very adept at that. You understand what's involved. You get into investment management. I, for one, am particularly fond of using the IFP Asset Management Group to take care of my clients' assets. They have all the resources, tools, alphabet, and expertise to do that. You may be involved in estate and legacy planning, which is critically important in wealth management. Of course, risk management, you get into long-term care and insurance and premature death and living too long, and the IFP Insurance Group can help with that. And then retirement planning, we've always had a strong suit in the employer-sponsored retirement plan area. Matt Levanchi's come to us from John Hancock to help shore up that particular department. So when we talked about in the first episode of How to Grow, focusing on the small business market and particularly in the retirement plan space, we've got all those tools and resources available. And then through our relationship with Pershing, we can access a lot of trust and banking services as well. Now, the other piece of it, and as we mentioned in the last video, we transitioned IFP plan advisors to a broader vision of IFP business solutions. And that, as I mentioned with Matt, in our retirement plan services area, key employee benefits, corporate capital management, business succession planning, risk management. But really the focus is on the millions of small business out there that need advice, help, guidance, tools, resources. And we're doing that through the IFP platform of partners, products, and services. The other area you've heard me speak a great deal is in financial wellness. It's a movement right now that's going to gain momentum. We're using different platforms, whether it be Advisor and eMoney, but using subscription-based agreements to deliver to the mass affluent a financial wellness type mindset that is not only holistic in nature, but it's autonomous, lives in the cloud, and can be ubiquitous. Doesn't matter where the client is. So really you can build a clientele without borders because it can be a worksite solution or even a retail offering. Again, along with group benefits, life, disability, long-term care, those kinds of things. And we have some relationship we're working on delivering checking, savings, investments, again, in that mass affluent area going forward. Now, in the business development side is really what we've talked about is business owners, retirement plan sponsors, centers of influence, different kinds of affinity relationships. And then down the road, one of our episodes is going to focus on advisor recruiting. Maybe you need some new and fresh and young blood to come into your organization to help it grow. But in essence, you would build your multidisciplinary business model of your practice on those tools, services with our partners, products, and resources. Now that we've had that refresher on the IFP multidisciplinary business model, again, let's put a little rubber to the road and look at a chart and see what the numbers would play out if someone was able to successfully implement the overview of what we were talking about. What I'm about to show you is actually a worksheet that we can make available to you to kind of help plot your course forward. And ultimately, we want to convert it into a dashboard and monitoring tool within Advisor X. With that said, let's go to the worksheet. Now, in this IFP Business Solutions Revenue Planning Matrix, what I've done here is really taken a look at 6 different areas that we're able to focus on. And in this particular case, we have employer-sponsored retirement plans, non-qualified plan revenues, and that would be when we talk about deferred compensation, executive benefits, those kinds of things. Holistic wealth management could be the business owner themselves, could be a wealthy individual down the street from you, but it's a different kind of business model, or service model, I should say, not business model. I talked about the financial wellness platform and subscription fees. That's kind of the mass affluent. With the wealth management, you're building depth. With financial wellness, you're building breadth within your practice from there. Some of those clients are going to invest money with you, and in those particular cases, they may be investment advisory only clients. They have a $50, $100, $500,000, $1 million account with you, and they're not really doing holistic wealth management, but it's more investment advisory fees. And then, as you see on here, let's say on an annual basis, you really incorporate doing some life insurance, long-term care, annuity type business that is more commission driven than fee business, but it does complement well. And again, a word I would add to that is if you're really becoming a financial advisor, a wealth manager, a wealth coach, whatever it may happen to be, you can't ignore the risk management aspects of someone's holistic plan. So if you say, I don't do that, then don't call yourself a wealth manager. In that case, you're really an investment advisor. Financial planning, wealth management by nature is holistic and inclusive, whether you do it or you refer it out to someone else. But let's just look at a couple of examples. Let's say over a 5-year period of time, you decided that you were going to implement into your business plan to pick up 401k plans. You're not going to become a specialist. You're going to be a generalist. You're going to try and pick up 4 plans a year, maybe 1 a quarter. Size, somewhere between 1 million and 10 million. You can, again, a bell curve. You might have some that exceed that. You might have some a little bit under that. But for the sake of my example, we're going to assume you were successful in picking up plans that has assets of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, even saying under the 5 million mark. I will tell you from experience and how we benchmark, a lot of the cases you're going to have a minimum fee of $10,000. Maybe you're targeting you at the $3 million area, 3 to 4, 40 to 50 basis points. Your average plan might be $15,000 a year. It's not uncommon in this market where some of our advisors have engagements that are paying them $25,000, $50,000 a year or more. It depends on the size and the complexity. But for simplicity, the way this spreadsheet is set up, we're going to say number of relationships if they were all at the minimum, and if they were all at the targeted, so we got a range to look at. Then the non-qualified, you were able to convert 20% of those or so that did some extra benefits. As you know, with NAPA, I've been very involved in the non-qualified Plan Advisor Certificate Program. We have all the tools we need to educate you to be proficient and knowledgeable in that market so you can bring it up and discuss it because it has tremendous potential. But let's say you only, over the 5-year period, you only put in 5 plans, 1 a year. And they, on average, created recurring revenue of $5,000 to $10,000 a year, depending on a minimum and a targeted fee from there, a piece now. Holistic wealth management, I'm talking about clients now that are 7-figure account balances. Again, not unusual. $10,000 to $15,000 to $20,000 a year in revenue. Let's say you only picked up 2 wealthy clients a year. And when I mean wealthy, they are truly 7-figure relationships for you in terms of assets under management or under advisement. On the financial wellness side of things, this is the mass affluent. We're fishing with a net, not with a pole. We might be doing it one at a time with the subscription-based financial wellness program that we can implement through the Advisor planning program. And Advisor is now owned by Orion, and that's becoming a really great relationship for us. You might have another situation where in your retirement plans, when I say fishing with a net, you've picked up 5, 10, 15, 20 people to crack. But let's say over a 5-year period of time, you create 250 relationships that are paying some kind of monthly subscription fee to access a financial planning platform and look to you as their financial wellness coach. And let's say over that you're doing 25 cases a year in the insurance side of things, paying out commissions anywhere from $600 to $1,500 a year. Could be more than that, likely not going to be less than that as you go forward. So what does that mean in this matrix of things? So, and this is an interactive matrix, so I can go in and I can change, and it's all formula driven, the number of relationships, my expectation of minimum fees versus targeted fees, and then it all rolls up into an annual revenue if everything was at the minimum and everything is at the targeted. Now, ideally, everything would be at the targeted, but you'll have some at the minimum. So where you're going to be, somewhere in between when it's all said and done. But if you, over a 5-year period, made a concentrated effort to have a multidisciplinary business model that you had success in all 6 areas, and really not overwhelming success in the sense that you ended up 5 years from now, 280 new relationships over that period of time. They all were at the minimum. You would have generated revenue of top line, again, before any expenses and before any grid applies and so on, of $500,000 a year, predominantly of recurring revenue. If your success was a little stronger and everything was at the targeted revenue, that's $862,000 a year. And I can tell you from an overview standpoint in the industry, that would compare very favorably with successful advisors in the business, that if you were generating $500,000 to $1 million of top line revenue, again, before in grid application, before any expenses, but if you're starting with that number, you've got a pretty good starting place on your GPS guiding you forward. The real key is staying focused, and as I mentioned, we ultimately want to convert a spreadsheet formula to a dashboard approach within Advisor X, so we can help you track, or first of all, establish and then track and monitor your goals going forward. So I've utilized this spreadsheet within my own practice, and it's a very worthwhile endeavor to put your goals on paper, track those goals, monitor those goals, diversify your lines of revenue streams coming into your practice, but also seeing how they interrelate from there. There's a saying in the Bible that says, without vision, the people shall perish. So in this particular case, your business, if you're just going about it, trying to throw new clients in there, hope you get the right kind of clients, how does it fit? The optimal success is never achieved, or there's a frustrating path to getting to optimal success. So hopefully what we shared today has caused you to think a little bit about your practice. Are you really open to a multidisciplinary business model? What goals and objectives do you want to set? How do you want to track them going forward? The spreadsheet that I talked about, just reach out to me, jeff.atchison@ifpartners.com, or Matt Levanchi, matt.levanchi@ifpartners.com. We can get you a copy of it. We can set a call up. We can help you set some particular goals as we go forward. So that will kind of conclude this episode of How to Grow. And the first part of it is figuring out where you're trying to go or where you're trying to grow to. All the subsequent episodes that will be coming hereafter are going to be on how do we make those numbers turn into a reality, and what tools and resources are available through our partners and our products and our services to help you get there. So until next time, hopefully this was helpful, and we'll look forward to continuing to show you how to grow.